Welcome to this episode of Cook with Craig, where we're going to show you behind the scenes at Lumley Castle and the kitchens that we've got here. We're going to be cooking up some fantastic dishes for you. So if you want some hints and tips, stay tuned. And if you don't want to do it yourself, why don't you come along to our restaurant and try it for real. So for this one today, we're going to show you how to do our pork belly. But before we start, most important thing to do before we do anything is sharpen our knives. Beautiful, let's get started. So here I've got a beautiful piece of saddleback pork belly. So this is going to get turned into our braised pork belly. So what I need to do with this is a few things first before we can put it in the oven. So my butcher's already taken the skin and the bones off this for me, so you see there's no skin on this side, but what I need to do to check and make sure that all the bones and the cartilage have been removed. So I can see a piece here, so we'll remove that. So have a good check around where all the ribs are and the cartilage are. It's looking really nice, so that's all good. So from here what I need to do is we need to get some thyme and garlic, salt and pepper into there, and then we roll this up and pop it through the oven. And believe it or not, this is going to go in the oven for 12 hours. I'm going to braise it through the oven at 12 hours. It makes it really soft, really tender, and it just falls apart with a fork. You don't even need a knife to cut this one. So for this one, for a whole pork belly, I'm going to use a whole bulb of garlic. Not just one clove, but a whole bulb, because that really infuses and permeates through the pork belly as it's cooking in the oven. So all I need to do is just peel these, take the paper off as I call it, which is the skin around the outside. And the easiest way I find of doing it is just a little nick in the bottom where it's actually joined onto the bulb. We pull it back down the sides, and then from there the skin should just pop off all the way around. I find it a lot easier to do it with a little knife as well, so you can just, as you're doing it, kind of tear the skin away with a knife and get it underneath. So with garlic, what a lot of people don't know is the bit in the centre of the garlic, which is that bit there, as you can see. If I just pop that out, this piece here is what gives everybody the indigestion and heartburn. So when people say, I don't like garlic, it gives me indigestion or heartburn, it's not the actual garlic itself. All the toxins which people can't actually digest or do anything with in the body, it comes in this little stalk in the centre. So I was taught as a very young chef to always take the centre out of the garlic, and that actually stops the heartburn and the indigestion. So next to chop the garlic, we've taken a little bit out of the centre which we need to remove to stop people's heartburn and stuff, so now we're going to chop the garlic. So this is a very simple process also. Knife, nice big knife, and it's a nice rocking process on the garlic. So what I'm doing first is just slicing it. And then what I'm going to do is going to put a little bit of salt onto there. This one stops it oxidising, and two, allow the salt, it becomes something to crush the garlic with, so it acts as a nice little abrasive. So when we actually chop the garlic, you get a nice puree out of it. So I'm just going to run the knife backwards and forwards till I get it to a nice small chop. I don't want a real fine puree on this because I want the actual garlic to have a little bit of flavour of its own as well as to permeate through the pork belly. So once I've got it to here now, all I'm going to do is use the side of the knife and just start crushing that garlic to get all the lovely flavours and oils out of it. You can do this in a mortar and pestle as well if you didn't want to do it with a knife, or you never had the skills to be able to, or the confidence to try this with a knife. So as you can see, I'm not chopping it anymore, all I'm doing now is just crushing it, and that salt's really helping to pull all the oils out of the garlic. As you can see them shiny on the board, and the garlic's going nice and shiny itself now. So that's exactly what I'm looking for. Not really chopped finely, but I've got a real good bit of flavour coming out of that garlic there. Next, what we're going to add some nice fresh thyme in there also. So all this bunch, stalks and all, I don't mind the stalks going into this one because they all add flavour. So this one's going to get chopped nicely through. Once it starts getting quite woody, then that's the time to stop chopping. Now all we're going to do is bring that garlic back into there. Get a nice chop through and get it all mixed nicely through it. And there we go, there's our garlic and thyme mix that's going to go into our pork belly. So we've got our garlic and thyme chop there. Let's bring our pork belly back and let's get this all wrapped up and get the flavour going. So this is where the magic happens. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the salt, pepper and the garlic and the thyme onto this, get it really well rubbed in to soak into that the pork flesh, and then we'll wrap it. I'll show you a special way of tying it like a butcher would tie it for. So what I'm going to do first is the seasoning. Very, very important that we liberally season, but evenly season the pork belly all the way down. As you can see, I'm doing it for quite a height. That allows the air to go through the salt as it falls and give it a nice even coating. If I was to do it from really close up, you get pockets of salt, which I don't want. So we need to season from a good height to get a nice liberal and even coat of seasoning. Also pepper, fresh cracked black pepper. This again, gets seasoned from a height to allow a nice even coating. As you can see, I'm putting quite a lot on here, but it needs quite a lot because once we cook it, some of this seasoning is going to then dissipate into the liquid because we're going to braise it. And then here we go. Let's get this thyme and garlic on there. So what I'm going to do is just kind of spread that out nice and evenly as well. Don't want to miss any. Beautiful. So now it's time to roll and tie. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the thin end and wrap it towards the thick end, which is this at the top. So this is just going to get rolled up. And then from there we're going to take our string. At one end we're going to do a slip knot. So the way I do my slip knot is round twice, through the loop, back through the loop, up and pull. So that creates our slip knot. So now I should be able to pull this really nice and tightly and that won't slip back on me. So then from there we do a technique called catch pole. So this is where we wrap the string in one continuous piece without cutting it, and we are able to actually wrap the entire belly pork. So this saves you could do it in lots of little sections if you wanted to and do lots of little individual slip knots all the way down, but this way just saves you the time. And once you've got it, it's a very simple technique to learn. Once you actually have it down and you get the loop correct, you can actually fly through. As you can see, I've done pretty much most of it there in a couple of seconds. So I'm going to cut this off here, turn it over, and then bring the end in. So I'm just going to lift it under that one, every other I miss out on going up there, take it through the end, and then what I normally do is bring it back around the front, and with a little bit I've left from the slip knot, just tie it off there. Tidy my string up. So there we go, our beautiful pork belly is nearly ready for the oven. So I've got the setup now here for my braising. What we're going to do is we're going to chop some onions, some carrots and some more garlic with some beef stock here that I've prepared earlier, and then we're going to put some water in it also. So let me chop the vegetables. Don't need to peel the carrots because the skin's got flavour in there as well, so these are just going to get chopped nice and big because we're going to cook them for a very, very long time. So it doesn't really matter. I could leave them whole if I want, but we're just going to chop them up a little bit. Then the onions, keep that big as well, so we're just going to chop each half into 4. then the bubble garlic that I've got, I'm just going to literally just cut in half. So as you can see there, really nice. All the flavour's going to come out of there, so that's going to just go straight in, and away we go. So we're going to bring that forward, lay our piece of pork belly onto the vegetables. My stock's going to go over the top. And then what we're going to do, we're going to fill it up to maybe here with water. The stock's going to form a really nice base and really nice flavour in there as well, so it kind of the complement the flavours that are going to go on in there. But then the water is going to allow it to braise very, very slowly. And then the reduction, once we get the pork out of there, is going to turn it into a really, really nice pork sauce, which we will serve on the finished dish. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I've filled it with water. I'm going to place 2 layers of tin foil over the top of it to protect it, because it's going to go in the oven for a long time. So let's say goodbye to this pork now and see you in 12 hours. Okay, so we're going to do the pork belly. It's been in the oven for 12 hours. It's out, it's been chilled, I've portioned it. Let's get it on the plate and let's get it out to these customers that are going to taste it for us. So here we go, that's our pork belly. It's been braised for 12 hours. All I've done is put it back in some of its natural juices, put it back in the oven just to bring it back to the temperature and get all the flavour going back through it again and make the meat really moist, and the fat's going to be just so sumptuous. Really, really nice flavour going on through there. The garnish that we've got going with this, we've got some sautéed potatoes, which are just sliced new potatoes that are cooked in butter and a little bit of rapeseed oil, salt and pepper, very simple, nothing else. And we've got some glazed green beans. I put the onions through the green beans rather than putting it through the sauce, because you're going to get all those onions in there as well. But when I pour the sauce over the top, it's going to turn it into a really nice onion gravy. So let's get it on the plate. This dish is all about the flavour. There's no ponce going on here, it's just flavour, flavour, flavour. Really simple presentation. Take our beautiful piece of pork belly. Just going to sit on the side there like so. And all those really amazing braising juices that we've turned into this really nice gravy, just going to sit across the top. And there we go. Let's get it out to our lovely customers. Service, please. So also, the dish you guys have here is our 12-hour braised pork belly, glazed green beans, sautéed potatoes, and then the braising juices from it. So you hopefully find it's kind of really tender, and all the flavours kind of marry really well together. Right. Very simple dish, but you should just explore the flavour for you.
Let's try it. Good.
Fantastic. Do you recommend it to everyone?
100%.
Fantastic, that's awesome.